Tonight's a really special night.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
Oh, can you believe it?
Canada right here. This was like something new for us.
It's wonderful validation.
I'm very proud to be Canadian and very proud to be a musician.
That I continue to sing for only the right reasons.
So right, so wrong.
It's emotional watching it.
Hello, my fellow Canadians and music fans. I'm Alessia Cara, and I'm so honored to be with you tonight. In just under an hour, the Junos will celebrate their 50th anniversary. I'm standing here in the Great Hall in Toronto, where live music used to happen, and as an artist myself, I can honestly say that I really miss those days, and I can't wait for their return. Over the years, the Junos have highlighted the incredible musical talent across our country, talent that I look up to and admire. It's going to be an amazing show. We'll hear from some of Canada's top performers and musical legends like Katie Lang, Buffy Sainte-Marie, Michael Bublé, and Maestro Fresh Wes, just to name a few. So let's get into it. First up is a rock band from Scarborough whose clever song lyrics and undeniable talent landed them in the Hall of Fame in 2018. Let's see how $1 million changed the lives of these longtime friends. Here are the Barenaked Ladies.
The newest members of the Canadian Music Hall of Fame, the Barenaked Ladies!
When the Barenaked Ladies got inducted, it couldn't have happened to better people. They symbolize everything that this country is. Great songwriters, funny, hysterical people who always had time for charity.
I just mostly was focusing on the anger that we hadn't been inducted sooner.
Like many other Canadians, I first became aware of Barenaked Ladies through a typically bare-naked, quirky way.
Inducted into the Hall of Fame by my lifelong musical hero was nuts. It was too much to take.
30 years and still going strong. Please welcome Barenaked Ladies to the stage.
And then to have them all on stage together, and they're obviously very emotional and swept away in the moment and happy to be there.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
I hadn't seen the other guys in years, and so to be there together with them, with an audience cheering us on, was deeply emotional.
Thanks to the guys for sticking by me as I fought through cancer twice. I love you.
I think generally people were happy to see us all together again too, you know.
Yeah, and that's something I was trying to focus on. And like, it's about the legacy of the band. It's about how that makes people feel and enjoy it through everybody else's lens in a way.
Thank you so much to my wife, Natalie, my incredible kids whose names escape me.
They're very sincere human beings, but also, like, I don't think they ever let go of that sense of humor, which is, you know, why a lot of fans love them. Yeah! But, you know, at the same time, they still pick up the guitar and they, like, do a nice little, like, song thanking people.
Sarah McLachlan, Geddy Lee, Seymour Stein, Howie Klein. How about that? Two names are wrong.
It really is, like, representative of who they are as a band.
And the fans and Canada.
We had to make every moment of our acceptance into the Hall of Fame entertaining, or it would be cut from the show.
And if I had $1 million, if I had $1 million.
We hadn't performed together as the five of us in almost 10 years at that point, and it's as if nothing had changed.
If I had $1 million, I'd build a tree farm in
And $1 million too, it really, when we played on stage, you get to look out into the audience and see everybody reliving an experience they had with that.
I feel like it's not even our song anymore.
Yeah.
It's their song.
Yeah.
Our crowd, our fans own that song.
It felt like a really important way for them to honor the journey that had gotten them to that point. To have that moment, and I think to really give that moment to fans that had been so devoted to them for a long time, felt like a really beautiful gift in a lot of ways.
If I had $1 million.
It was a nice reality moment too, knowing that things aren't always going to be staying the same, and that nothing is forever, and that you have to enjoy those moments as they come in, because you may never see this again.
Being inducted into the Hall of Fame is a peer-chosen award, you know? We really felt the love from everybody.
The fact that I take this with me to bed every night, does that describe the kind of whether this was a highlight of my career or not? You know, I'm not holding on to the past. I'm just holding on to this, okay?
It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling
Yeah.
to know what good company we're in, too.
The Barenaked Ladies are proof that hard work, a great sense of humor, and perseverance pays off. From one Hall of Famer to the next, this artist was the Justin Bieber of the 80s. Corey Hart sold 16 million records worldwide, with many of his songs dominating the charts. Here's a performer, composer, and family man who's driven by love. Here's Corey's heartfelt induction.
Anybody got any pair of sunglasses?
Corey Hart was, and probably will always be, an icon in Canadian music, especially the late 80s, early 90s. He was all over the radio.
I think a lot of people have forgotten how absolutely massive he was.
He was a heartthrob. He was everything that teenage girls aspired to date.
To contextualize it for younger people who might be watching, had a bit of Justin Bieber flavoring at that time, you know?
There's a whole generation of people who don't know who he is. And they might have heard the references to sunglasses, but they don't know the sensitive soul that we all got to know. It was exciting to get this opportunity to bring this legend back to life on our screens.
Corey was born a songwriter and never imagined himself as a performer, but if you write the perfect song, you may just end up as both. It was really wonderful being able to induct him. He asked for me, which I was incredibly honored, and thought, well, if someone wants me to be part of this amazing event in their lives, how can I say no? And again, you know, I had a soft spot because it was Corey Hart. That fateful introduction became the love story of their lifetime. And Corey came to a point in his life when he had to decide between family and the spotlight. He chose love.
It's surreal to rewatch it, number one, because it was surreal to experience it and be, you know, present in the moment and watching it happen in real time. But above all, when I see my children and I see Julie there with me, I think being a sensitive guy the way I am, that just takes it to another level, having my family there with me at this moment.
It is an absolute honor for me to introduce the newest inductee to the Canadian Music Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, Corey Hart.
This night at the Junos was absolutely incredible. I was so proud of him, and I think the kids were quite impressed.
It's, and when I heard Everything in My Heart play, I just started crying, and it just happened again. It's just like I'm watching it, and it just happens again, because that song just symbolized why I did music, was to reach people, and it's an emotional heartstring, and I was just overwhelmed.
Thank you.
We were all emotional watching him watch his induction and then watching his speech, because it was just a very human moment, and it really did seem like not a star receiving an induction or receiving an award. It seemed like a husband and a father and a really good man looking back on his career with his family by his side.
I believe that music and love are the most enduring and powerful forces of good in the world.
That comment, that just came to me because, you know, I realized that music and love are symbiotic. They're joined together, because if it hadn't been for music, I wouldn't have met my wife, and I wouldn't have had our 4 beautiful children together. So it all just seemed to make sense to me at the moment.
I mean, that's Corey Hart. You know, he was able to do both. He was able to win everybody's hearts with music, and he was able to win one woman's special heart with love.
Without music or the Junos, I would have never met my precious Julie.
He always puts his family first, and he says that every chance he gets. And we knew that this really mattered because his kids were going to get to see him.
As a songwriter, I can honestly say that those are the greatest songs that I'll ever write.
I think everyone would hope their father would say that about them, whether or not they're a musician, and I think that's just who he is. I think he is a father and a husband first, and a superstar second.
I honestly believe that there can be no Hall of Fame without their fans supporting you. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
The Junos gave me the honor of a lifetime by acknowledging the first part of my life, which was music, but also having my family there to witness it is the greatest gift they could have bestowed upon me.
For him to be recognized in the music industry like that was a very special moment, and we're just all very proud of it. So to have had the chance to live this as a family and all together, yes, it's amazing to be able to look back and see this moment and be proud of it.
I'm very proud to be Canadian and very proud to be a musician. God bless you.
I bet there wasn't a dry eye that night. After the break, we find out what it means to be a promising female for k.d. lang, why Alanis chose to disrobe in public, and how Maestro felt after winning the first ever Juno for a rap recording. You won't want to miss this. Welcome back to the show where we walk down memory lane with some of our most celebrated musicians reliving their Junos moments. It's no secret that we're a country filled with musical icons, artists that have paved the way for singers like myself to be who we want to be. k.d. lang is one of those legends who's always been authentic from the very beginning. So when she won for Most Promising Female Vocalist at the start of her career, k.d. vowed to be true to herself and picked an interesting outfit for the occasion. Take a look.
And the winner is k.d. lang.
This was an awesomely wacky moment in Juno's history, and to this day, I think when people look back at the Juno Awards and memorable special moments, they refer to the wedding dress moment.
I was injecting a lot of humor into it, but I was very, very moved, and it was a very big moment for me.
When k.d. lang burst onto the scene, I don't think anybody realized what a beautiful, glorious freak she totally was.
Back in those days, I really thought of myself as a performance artist, and so the name of the category was Most Promising Female. Who's the most promising female? It has to be a bride.
When I watched that, I thought of like the wedding dress being symbolic of marriage, and in a lot of ways, her introducing herself to the industry at large kind of felt like she was making it clear that she was getting involved in a contract of sorts.
I was living with a gay boy, and he had a wedding dress in his closet. I thought, okay.
That should have tipped us all off that we were dealing with a beautiful soul and somebody that took the care and energy into not only what she sung, but what she looked like. There was a real thought process behind everything of what she did.
I could have been making a statement. You know, whenever I did something conceptually, like I was there, I definitely mapped out the different avenues. Isn't that the idea of good art, is to provoke people coming up with ideas and theories of the thought behind it? So I'll let that happen.
Weddings and the convention of weddings and the convention of picking out a wedding dress and looking perfect and having it well documented is an incredibly traditional thing. And I think k.d. lang is anything but traditional, so that juxtaposition is really interesting. And then she turns her speech into wedding vows.
First of all, I'd like to promise you that I am sincerely honored for your acknowledgement of my determination.
Balancing the humor with sincerity.
I'd like to promise that I will personally thank each and every one who deserves a piece of this pyramid. I promise that I will work harder next year than I have in the past 2 years. But most of all, I promise that I continue to sing for only the right reasons.
I was making a statement on my commitment to the music and to the duty of being an artist. I took the pledge not to commercialize my music or not to capitalize in the wrong way on my career. So tried to be real.
She absolutely stayed true to her promise to sing for only the right reasons. She's not in it for anything else. And even though there's little silly displays and costumes and fun things here and there, she's really there to sing her message, to sing the music, and to reach people. And I think that authenticity is just the name of her game.
Thank you very much. I love you.
Definitely an iconic outfit and speech. I could watch that over and over again. And to think that that was Katie's first of many Juno wins over the course of her career. You know, as musicians, being able to artistically express is so important. In true Alanis fashion, she brought shock and humor to the Juno stage in 2004 and entertained the unsuspecting crowd while hosting the show. Let's take a look.
Live from Edmonton, Alberta, it's the 2004 Juno Awards.
This was the 2004 Juno Awards, and Alanis was hosting.
Hosted by Alanis Morissette.
It was just after the Super Bowl appearance where Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake had that little moment of a breast being shown.
And Alanis, being such a pioneer and such a strong woman, she wanted to acknowledge that and do something.
I imagine that people knew that it was right during a time where Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake were in the middle of Nipplegate, as they called it. So I'm assuming that most people understood what the commentary was about, and if not, just a quick Google will help you out.
And she'd also had her own experience where her own lyrics had been censored.
Recently in the United States, I ran into a little problem with regards to a lyric in one of my songs. It was requested that I change a word in the first verse.
It made sense for someone like Alanis, who's a big proponent of women's rights and being who you are and freedom and equality, to come into the conversation and comment on that not so subtly with her opening monologue at the Junos.
I am overjoyed to be back in my homeland, the true North, strong and censor-free.
Is that true?
She decided to have some fun with it.
Apparently I can't say those things, okay.
But also make some serious social commentary about the way that nudity and sexuality, and especially the woman's body, should be talked about and seen on television.
Which is why I am truly proud to be able to stand here and do this.
It was one of those moments that, even having been behind the scenes, even having known what she was going to do, it blew me away. Like her bravery for one thing, but also just that moment and seeing the body parts on her bodysuit.
For me, one of the most exciting parts of the conversation of censorship, especially around the body, is distinguishing between, you know, hypersexualized music video, female body, and sensual and not hypersexualized.
Well, we can't show nipples on national television.
You can't?
As she was making a statement about censorship, she technically wasn't doing anything that could be censored, but I think the illusion and perception of that got her point across really clearly and really well.
Hi!
There's a message through the visual for me, always a message through comedy, and certainly through music, and just showing up that night. So for it to start any kind of conversation that would allow for more freedom and a less hatred of our bodies.
Okay. Hi! All right.
Okay.
You're good.
Okay.
Okay.
In some ways, like, it really got a lot of people talking. It was a thing that I think the UK press picked up on, the US press picked up on. I would hope that that also did start some conversations with people.
So right, so wrong.
When you have access to a stage, that stage becomes a tool, and with that comes a lot of responsibility, and I think Alanis was really aware of that and wanted to make sure that she was using her time effectively, but she was also using it economically to do something in a short period of time that could have maximum impact.
I find myself sort of curious if something triggers me or if I'm doing something that may trigger others. I love the conversation that is born from it.
I feel great. A little cold, though, but really great.
But now that I'm watching it, I am extra impressed with the activism through comedy. Sweetness.
Wow, it's amazing how timely that moment still is. Continuing to look back at our musical past, before Drake or The Weeknd, Canada had many rap, R&B, and hip-hop pioneers that paved the way for the artists of today. Let's see what Maestro Fresh Wes had to say after winning the first Juno Award for Rap Recording of the Year in 1991.
The renaissance of dance music has come in a variety of sounds and styles, too numerous to be denied. It is hip-hop, however, that dominates and permeates the new dance spectrum.
That was the inaugural year. That's when the Canadian Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences had to implement the best rap recording of the year.
By that point, urban music was gaining a lot of traction, but the Canadian music industry was a little slow to recognize that. It's a monumental moment to have rap be included at the Junos.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mitsu and the two other guys.
I like Mitsu. Mitsu is fresh. Look at Mitsu. Look at Mitsu.
The nominees for Rap Recording of the Year are Wash Your Face in My Sink, Dream Warriors.
Obviously, the Dream Warriors, I'm very proud of. Those are my homies, too. So, King Lou, what up? Q, what up?
So Listen from MCJ and Cool G.
MCJ and Cool G, I was just happy for them because they're from Halifax. So, it wasn't just about Toronto. It was about other parts of the country.
Dance to the music. Simply Majestic featuring Be Cool.
What up, Be Cool? He done some legendary things, man. Enough respect to Be Cool. He changed his name to Carlito.
And Take Me Like I Am, Spunkadelic.
Peace. Spunkadelic back in the day.
Symphony in Effect, Maestro Fresh Wes.
I was nervous. My heart was pounding, but I said to myself, man, you know they better give me this award. But it was also a little doubt that, yo, I could get this.
And the Juno goes to...
And that doubt right there made me a little nervous because this was my first time in that environment like that.
My man, Symphony in Effect, Maestro Fresh Wes.
So to be honest, right now, everything is like kind of surreal to me because I know it wasn't just about me. I was representing black music in Canada.
All right.
That's why I got nervous when I was doing my speech.
Okay, first of all, I gotta thank God, my family, and my crew.
We won. And when I say we, it wasn't just, me as an artist, but us for hip-hop in Canada. Understand what I'm saying?
I definitely gotta thank the Junos for recognizing not only rap music, but black music in Canada.
Because they weren't represented that much in the years prior at the Junos. And so it's a huge moment to have the inclusion of black music and black artists finally get that recognition.
In Canada right here, this was like something new for us as first generation black Canadians, and just for the genre of music, which was still in its infancy. So it was an honor to be a part of that, but it was like surreal in a lot of ways for me too. This is just a part of our history right now, you know? And it's time to celebrate, especially when it's Juno time.
That was awesome. To quote Maestro, I make history, not records. That was definitely history in the making. When we come back, some of Canada's OG hip-hop and R&B legends come together to relive their monumental performance on the Juno stage. And in just under 30 minutes, it's the golden anniversary of the Juno Awards, so stick around. Welcome back to My Junos Moment, where we deep dive into some of the most iconic moments from 50 years of Junos history. This was such a significant moment where legends from the hip-hop and R&B scene in Canada came together for one massive performance. Have a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado,
a celebration and a tribute to urban music.
So this is 2001, and the Junos have brought together an urban music tribute, and that alone is wild to think back on the fact that it's called urban music.
Watching that performance, it's like watching an all-star competition.
Introducing Deborah Cox.
I remember this outfit. Oh, yeah. Hit that note, girl. This was a moment that we all waited for, thinking about none of us ever dreamed that we would even get national recognition.
For so many years, this category and many other categories, R&B, soul, were never televised. So this was a great opportunity to actually be seen on the telecast.
Oh my gosh, look how big my clothes are. I think I was wearing 5X at this time. That experience was just incredible because now I'm on stage with artists that I look up to and artists that help make the scene happen.
We didn't go to this. I'm pretty sure we did not go. And I don't think we got invites.
What the hell?
Only signed people.
Yo. Apparently we all have horrible memories.
It is monumental in the fact that
First of all, how long the Junos gave, how long Karis gave for hip hop, that was surprising to me. And then having all those bodies there, I mean, all those groups, Concept, Choclair, Cardinal, is just big.
Look at this little girl.
Yeah, holy oversized leather, man. That's about 10 cows.
Yeah, this was the leather show. This was the leather show.
My definition.
We're all a part of the infrastructure and just kind of letting people hear how different we were and hear what we were saying in the streets and hear what was reflecting on what we were all going through.
Maestro Fresh Wes.
Maestro's the bomb. Yeah, he's the one that made me believe that I could actually do it.
This jam is amplified, so just glide and let your backbone slide.
Crowd had no idea. What is this? Hip hop. What is this? Now, billion-dollar business. Hip hop is the new pop, is the new rock, is the culture.
It felt like the artists were performing and speaking directly to audiences who had never seen themselves on screen in that way on a Juno stage.
I have like butterflies watching my young self.
Train. A retrospective look at things is often better because then you really recognize the journey, what the journey was all about. That show could be performed at this year, next year, and still have that impact.
Avengers. This is Avengers, yo.
We didn't know we were pioneers. So it really lets me realize that the things that we do now are really significant for the future and for the next generation.
Wow, legends. And if you love that as much as I did, you'll be happy to know that tonight's show will include a special celebration of the past 30 years of rap music in Canada. Now, the Junos is usually about celebrating artists, songs, and performances, but it's also important to celebrate the loss of a legend. After Gord Downie's passing, the Junos paid tribute to a beautiful soul who forever changed what it means to be a lead singer, with touching performances by Sarah Harmer, Kevin Hearn, and Dallas Green. Here's a look at Gord Downie's tribute.
When Gord passed and we honored him on the Junos, we knew the impact that he had had and that the band had had. And we wanted to make sure that it was what he and his family would have wanted.
Hero, committed.
All wonderful adjectives to describe him, you know?
Compassion.
It's just a strange mix of emotions if I ever find myself watching that moment, because I can't help but think about how I was feeling in the moment of being there. But then also I watch the montage, and every time I watch that montage, I smile because it's such a beautiful representation of Gord. Yeah, it's just sort of a roller coaster, you know, of emotions when I'm watching it.
Superbable. Caring.
I think the video tribute really speaks to, again, like how much he touched a lot of people across the country. It wasn't just musicians who loved him, it was athletes, it was politicians. It's so nice to see all of them kind of come together and break it down in all these different adjectives that really describe how amazing he was.
It's passionate about music with passion. Love.
It was impossible to escape the gravity of a loss that was happening. It just felt like Canada lost a bit of its soul.
Big. Brother. I love you.
Gord Downie taught us all what it means to be alive and how to exit this world with love and compassion.
You know, the Junos, there's a lot of showbiz pizzazz going on, but I think at that moment it was real, and it was a beautiful, sincere moment.
Gord Downie was given a native name, and his name was the man who walks among the stars. And with that name, that's what he is now today.
I think Gord put in a lot of work in his last years of life, really focusing on reconciliation and our country's relationship with Indigenous people. You know, it was really clear that that was an important thing that he was fighting for.
Gord
taught us to see this country in its entirety, understand the details of it, the stories of it, and most importantly, calling on us to move forward on true reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. He left us an understanding and a responsibility to do an awful lot of work.
You helped me out of so many scrapes.
That tribute couldn't have been more perfectly executed by Sarah Harmer and Dallas Green and Kevin Hearn. I think that was not easy for them to do.
There was a nice moment before we went on where Dallas, myself, and Sarah were in a dressing room, just the three of us, and Dallas poured us all a shot of whiskey, and we toasted to Gord, and that was a really nice moment. It really helped us sort of connect and think about our friend Gord.
Introduce yourself.
Like, you're honored to be asked to pay homage to your friend, but you would rather not be there doing it. So it's a sort of weird juxtaposition you have to go through in your head.
Thank you for your help.
So right about now, I'm like standing off to the side of the stage waiting, and I'm losing it.
I left your house this morning.
Realizing if I just put my emotions aside for 3 minutes, I could hopefully just honor the memory of Gord, and then I could go friggin' cry in the bathroom stall afterwards.
It was a little after 9.
So probably right now is where you could, if you look, you can see tears in my eyes that are welling up, and I'm not really sure. But then thankfully it's right where Sarah is about to walk over and kind of help me get through the end of it.
Got to your house this morning.
The legacy of somebody's work is a story that's never done being told. I think that it's one that can evolve and shift and change over time.
I hope that we, as a group and all the people who put it together, did a good job, you know, to pay homage to such a magical person.
I think that's the least that we can do to celebrate these important people who become part of the fabric of our lives and the fabric of pop culture and music and all that we do moving forward.
It's just a nice way to say thank you.
What a beautiful legacy he left behind. Thank you, Gord. Coming up, we've got Buffy Sainte-Marie with all her wisdom, Max from Arkells on why it was so important to share the stage, and Canadian darling Michael Bublé just being Michael Bublé. Hey guys, I don't know about you, but this has been so much fun looking back on these standout moments from Juno history. And in less than 15 minutes, it's your 2021 Juno Awards. So let's keep it going. Next up is none other than Buffy Sainte-Marie, who in 2017 opened the show with a very special Land Acknowledgement, something that's never been done live at the Junos ever. And wow, it was powerful.
Please welcome Buffy Sainte-Marie.
I tell you, the Land Acknowledgement, there's really a backstory to that because in the morning of the awards presentation, I was handed a piece of paper and I was asked to read it. It was in lawyer talk, and I objected.
We are here in Ottawa on unsurrendered territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation.
I changed it. I just told them right out. I said, you don't have to use this lawyer talk.
Tonight, we want to thank and honor the land and the peoples of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe Nation, whose families who have lived on this territory for thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
Yes.
And whose cultures and presence have nurtured and continue to nurture this land.
And I think people understand it more, and a lot of people have followed suit, and they've kind of updated that language in their own land acknowledgements across Canada.
We also acknowledge the enduring presence of all First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples.
What the Junos very wisely and beautifully did, I think, was to follow the Land Acknowledgement with Tribe Called Red, who aren't very much like me.
We have been called the Indians.
And Tanya, who's not very much like either one of us. And it just plain all works together because that's the reality of life. The timing is right. It has to be happening now. If it should have happened earlier, okay, we can talk about that another day. But I'm just glad that it's happening at all. Oh, can you believe it? Oh, it was such an honor to be a part of that, and thanks to the Junos for being flexible enough to do that, and for all the chiefs and council people and elders I spoke to that day who helped me to make it right.
Wasn't that amazing? I'm so glad Buffy did that. It was so impactful. In 2019, singer and composer Jeremy Dutcher was giving a moving speech for winning Indigenous Music Album of the Year. Unfortunately, he got played out. Can you believe that? But leave it up to the Arkells for saving the day. Check it out.
Yeah, so this is the Saturday night at the Junos, the big gala dinner.
The way the Junos are structured is some of our awards are on broadcast and some of them are on what we call our night one.
With not being picked up in the video is just how big the room is.
And a number of awards are given out that night, and it's an incredible industry event that people absolutely love going to.
And it can be kind of rowdy too, because it's just like a sea of people. It takes the right kind of speaker to actually capture the room.
And the winner is Jeremy Dutcher.
When Jeremy Dutcher won his award, the whole room quieted down.
All my people, this is for you.
Okay, Canada, I've got 60 seconds, so let's get down to this.
Everybody was really dialed in listening to him, and he was sharing so much wisdom.
Our music is not niche. Our music is saying something.
He was really precise about what he wanted to use his time on stage to say and exactly who he wanted to say it to.
So Justin, Mr. Trudeau.
Justin. I'm hoping that if I just speak about him in a familiar way, we'll just be buds and then we can really get down to it then, you know?
A nation-to-nation relationship does not look like sending militarized police force into unceded territory.
What he was saying was so much more than an acceptance speech. You know, he was making a declaration and he was articulating a call to arms.
We can all do better. Reconciliation, there we go. That's it.
He's starting to talk about the idea of reconciliation, and then the music starts to play. But clearly, nobody wanted him to go.
They booed, and it was the first time that I ever heard boos at the Juno Award.
You know, I was just like, okay, it's not my time to talk about this yet.
That moment stuck with me for the whole night, and our award, the Rock Album of the Year, was the last one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Arkells.
So when our name got called, I just thought, I was like, I'll just grab him and see if he wants to finish the speech.
Don't start the music. He's gonna go as long as he wants, okay?
There are a lot of conversations about people speculating about what it means to make space. Sometimes that means that if you have access to a podium, you take a step to the side and let somebody else shine in your place.
Reconciliation. Reconciliation.
It was really a sweet moment, but at the same time, the message that came across was what we needed to hear. And he got his opportunity because of what the Arkells chose to do, which was really special.
I have hope that we can come to right relations with each other. I just want to say this. Niga niyang tpidahadman. Che wujgwabazite. Nitlayach. Thank you.
And Jeremy was a voice, especially in that moment in time, that was so important to listen to and just learn from. I think that's always been the spirit of the band, and that's why it's always made sense to have other people, take the main stage.
Such awesome humans, and what a great moment to relive. As Jeremy said, reconciliation takes time. It takes music, but I have hope. After the break, we've got worldwide sensation and jokester Michael Bublé. Welcome back. I've been loving hanging out with you guys, reliving these moments. And guess what? The Junos 50th award show is only a few minutes away. But before we wrap it up here, we have a few moments left to show you. Last but not least is a guy who's been trusted with hosting the Junos not once, but twice. That's a pretty big deal. So naturally, they'd call in a big star like Michael Bublé to get the job done. Let's check it out.
Please welcome your host, Mr. Michael Bublé.
It's interesting to think about Michael as a Juno darling and why has he attained that status. Michael just has really embraced what the Junos is, the environment that we're in, and also it's the opportunity to come back home.
2013 was the first time that they asked me to host. I was really excited, but I was nervous too because I felt like I really wanted to make my country proud.
Hello, Canada!
When he hosts the Junos, you just know it's going to be funny. It's just such a guarantee.
Sometimes there's Fat Buble, there's Bubbly Buble, and then there's just, I got an album on Buble.
Many months before I started to write this opening, and I started to call everybody I could to put together cameos because I wanted there to be an international flair to celebrating our country.
Oh my gosh, the Junos? I love Canadian music so much. Do you know that Celine Dion is my homegirl?
I know there's a lot of hosts that, the great writers come in and they do their thing and they trust them, and then there's people like me that can't help but micromanage.
That's kind of like our thing. I love you too, Snooky Boogie.
I think it's great that Michael Bublé is that involved in all elements of his craft, and I think it's really neat to let artists flex in different areas of what they can do, and it certainly takes a load off of the Juno producers' plates.
I can't do it. I'm gonna be the worst Juno host ever.
Oh, come on, you can do this. You may not have the musical talent of a Justin Bieber, but listen, you can do this.
You think I can do it?
Man up, man, you can do this.
Okay.
I felt like a boxer who was going out into the ring. I was terrified, I was excited. For me, it was like one of the biggest nights of my life.
Calm it down, man. You got this, Buble.
The next time I hosted was 2018 in Vancouver. Oh, I like this opening too. I seem to pick expensive openings. Great opening, man. I mean, man, maybe I should just host again.
When Michael hosted the 2018 show in Vancouver, we hadn't seen him for a few years. He'd been on the road, he'd been having children, making music.
It means more than you'll know to be able to come back here in my hometown, in front of my family.
I would imagine that was a lot of pressure on him, and he handles everything with such grace, such confidence, such composure.
5 years ago, when I hosted the first time in Regina, you brought me luck, and I was pregnant with my wife was, we were pregnant with our first child, and here I am, 5 years later, and you brought me, oops, you did it again.
Michael Bublé sort of famously announced that they were having their third child, and apparently he neglected to say that it was their first girl, which is something that he had wanted to reveal.
My wife and I are pregnant with our number 3.
And I came off stage and I went, I forgot to tell them it was a girl. I was so grumpy. I was like, what? Oh, dude. And that's what I wanted for that moment. I wanted to have like, you know what? He breaks the baby news of the sex here, And I forgot.
And either way, I think that is a really special way to do that. We've seen Beyonce reveal that she was pregnant on stage. We've seen Michael Bublé do it at the Junos. I think it's very sweet that he trusts the audience with that and that he wants to make that a part of his display at the Junos.
I love you so much, mi amor.
And I loved the lineup that year too. There was a lot of great new artists mixed with established artists, and I think that's my favorite thing about the Junos is we support our upcoming acts and we put them on this beautiful pedestal to sort of share our pride of them, and I think that just show how well we represent different culture and creed.
Whew, that's a tough act to follow. Well, I hope you enjoyed going down memory lane with me tonight. If you want to rewatch these iconic moments and see more, go to cbc.ca/Junos. I'm Alessia Cara, and I feel so deeply blessed to be a part of such a talented industry, and I know there's so much more greatness to come from all of our musicians. Now celebrating their golden anniversary, the 2021 Juno Awards are coming right up.